I now call to order the business of December 8th, 2015. Mr. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Nettapegian.
Present.
Kenneth Barron.
Here.
Thomas Berry.
Here.
Robert Constant.
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton is absent. Margaret Horvath.
Here.
And Joseph Kosinski.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And before we ask for the pledge, I'd just like to take a moment of silence for all the people that lost and families that lost their lives in the California shooting. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can we have you lead us in the pledge?
Mr. Chairman, I think you should do the pledge because
No,
it's
no,
your
no.
last night.
I'm honored to have my wife and daughter here today.
Okay.
So I would like to ask Sue and Jenny to please lead us in the pledge.
Very good.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Before we continue, can we have a moment?
Sure.
Mr. Greibel?
You want to present this first?
Mr. Chair, on behalf of your colleagues on the council, I have been asked to present you with a plaque in recognition for all your years of service. But before I give this to you, I want to tell you, Ken, that aside from being the chair, nobody realizes the commitment one makes when he takes this position. You have taken my phone calls at 8 o'clock in the morning. You have taken others at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. You've interrupted your business day with our phone numbers or with our phone calls. And I know the chief of police has called you, Mr. Miyake has called you, the mayor has called you. I want to say thank God for Sue, or you wouldn't be able to run the business. I thank you sincerely for everything that you've done at this council. You've led by example. I appreciate your honesty, and I think everybody up on the table as well appreciates your dedication, your honesty. So on behalf of the City Council of Dearborn Heights, in sincere appreciation for your outstanding dedication to service as the chairman of the Dearborn Heights City Council 2015. So you'll please take your gavel with you when you go.
That gavel?
That's that gavel.
Geez.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mark, to you.
Thank you.
I'd like the gavel because I've always wanted to throw it at you.
No, thank you.
I'm going to give me take a minute. Just give this to Sue if I will.
We had a couple other presentations. Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. There we go. Mike, good evening, everyone. Tonight, of course, as I think you're figuring out, it's a very special night. As we say farewell, unfortunately, to our council chair, and as was mentioned earlier, has done so much for our city. And he's done, I think, even more than many of you realize. But before we get started, this is very sensitive information that I'm going to be doing in this presentation. So I'm going to pause a second and give those at home a chance to look around and see if there are any of the kids or children in the area within an earshot of the television. I'll give you.
This is only adults only.
Adults only. It's very, very, very sensitive. So it's a good time for them maybe to do their homework, clean their room, or maybe go watch television, which they might want to do, or play some video. You can go ahead and let them do that. So I'll give you a couple seconds to get the kids out of the room. Okay.
We needed music.
Dun, dun. All right, I think that's quick enough. Or you can just turn your TV down. Hopefully you wouldn't, because I think this is a very important presentation. Back when I came to the city, my first event that I did with the city was our annual tree lighting ceremony. So it's very, very special to me. And for the first 5 years, we brought Santa Claus in. And then after my 5th year, I lost my Santa Claus. And that's devastating. anytime you lose your Santa Claus. And so I was checking through the city and trying to figure out who I could get. And at that time, Ken, you weren't even on city council. You were just a very productive business member and contributor to the community. And so I found out that he had some Santa experience. So I contacted him and said, I'd like to offer you a job. It doesn't pay well. But there's tremendous reward with it. And he stepped forward, and that was, we're trying to go back, and Ken and I were talking, trying to figure out, we think it was about 1992 is when you took that very important role. Was it before that? Okay. Yeah. So it may have been before that, but he's been here well over 20 years. He's been handling those duties at our tree lighting ceremony, and this is a way that we'd like to show our appreciation and say thank you.
And then Santa left the house, and I said, Mom, gosh, Santa sounds just like Daddy. So Mom put a kibosh on that one for a couple of years, but so that's what he's been doing it for a very long time. So.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. I didn't know that story. That was great. That was perfect timing.
And the other thing I want to note on here, and I want to thank Bob Amcraft for doing this for me, we were trying to find a picture of you, and this was an actual picture at the tree lighting, and believe it or not, there are people standing next to you, but he was able to Photoshop it out, so that is an actual, that's not taken from a graphic, that's actually Ken Barron in his uniform at tree lighting ceremony. So thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. It's always been my pleasure. And it always was fun, There's a few sad stories. I remember when kids would say, geez, we don't have enough money for toys, so, maybe just some shoes or socks or something. And I always told my wife when I'd come home, oh, get their address and phone number. We'll make sure that they have a nice Christmas. But we have been able to adopt a few families, and it's just so nice. I'll just share one story with you. It was a grandmother and the two kids were staying with her because the parents were elsewhere. And so she didn't have a garage. And we got them some bikes and some other toys and presents. And she called and she says, well, they're going to church at 10 o'clock Christmas Eve. Can you come after that? So we brought that all in and set it all up around the tree. And she was just so excited that their grandkids are going to have the best Christmas. And it's those moments like that you'll remember forever and ever. And so it's always been great. And we've always loved Dearborn Heights, and Dearborn Heights will always be our home. So, but it was always my pleasure being the city Santa. Oh. Yeah, of course, a lot of stories, and Ken has some too. When his kids were young, that he would want me to say certain things to Santa Claus about things that are going on. But there was one of the homes that people were building, and I knew the kids were worried about where Santa would know where their new home is. So I heard this, and then when they came up to me, I said, oh, I seen your new home, and you got your lights, and they were so thrilled that I knew exactly where they moved and that the toys are going to get there. So, but there's story after story after story, and it was just always so much fun, and it really was. And tomorrow I go up to Flint to play Santa, so I will still keep going. Yeah, we'll still be doing that. But thank you all very, very much, and it's always been my pleasure, to do this. And if you ever need any help along the way, I'll be here. So, will do. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Don't go away. One of the nice functions I have as a mayor is I'm able to celebrate with people when they have special occasions. And on Ken's retirement, you've heard some things about him, but he and Sue and his whole family have done so much for so many people that I'm aware of some of them. I'm not aware of everything. But people who have been in need, as he mentioned some of the Christmas things, but I know a lot more items. And I have this really long proclamation, but rather than read all this, what I really like to say from my bottom of my heart is that thank you for all the special things that you, your wife, and your family have done for so many people in Dearborn Heights. And we're all going to miss you. We just can't, thanks are not enough for what you've done. In addition, I think the best and highest service a person can give is public service. And the hours and the dedication, we certainly all don't do this for the pay. It's a matter that it's in your heart, and the hours that we spend listening to people's problems, and I wish we could solve all of them. Many times we're not able to solve the problems, but at least we're there to listen to them. And I know that I had the opportunity to be a council chairman, and it's a hard job getting 7 people to work together. You've done it very well. And as a mayor, it's always comforting when you have a council that has the intent of doing what's best for the city, and that's always been in your heart. So rather than read this proclamation, I wanted to tell you what was in my heart and to tell you that we were so blessed as a city to have you as an elected official and your whole family and the service that you've done, because it's really been a team. And thank you for everything you've done, and we wish you a best retirement.
Good, thank you. Of course, you know that we've had our business here for over 40 years in the Heights, and we've always tried to help out with almost everyone that came into the door, and that we could. And I know when rec would have their daddy-daughter dances and they needed flowers and different things, we've always done that to help out. But we have been in a family, and you know, of course, my wife was a past president of the Chamber of Commerce, and my daughter was involved in Key Club and Governor Key Club and all that stuff. So our family's always been involved, and it's you know, there's just something about seeing and helping these people that just really warms your heart up. And I think that's what kept us going, you know, all these years, because it's something that I guess was instilled to me by my parents, and then we did that also to our children and hopefully our grandchildren now, so we'll have a little more time to be with them and enjoy them. But again, it was our pleasure, and thank you very much, because the city has given back a lot to us too. So I want to thank you all too. Thank you. Well, that was a very pleasant surprise, and thank you all very, very much. Okay. Now, as for the item number 3, the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Constant?
I move that the order of business for December 8th, 2015 of the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council be approved.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, approval of the minutes. 4A, the minutes of the regular meeting of November 24, 2015.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move that the revised copy of the minutes of our last formal meeting be approved as submitted.
Support. Second by Councilman Berry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
motion to approve current claims 6-1 through 6-22.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Councilman Apigian.
Item 21, payment for the work on Warren Telegraph to paving. I was reading the contract. There's no mention about a sidewalk being built. A sidewalk was added to the pavement on the north side of the street. But as I look at the contract, there's no mention of the sidewalk, and only a sidewalk was put on the north side and not the south side. The only mention of a sidewalk in the contract is the ramping where streets and sidewalks meet. And I assume there may have been some existing sidewalk at the bridges that do that. So I was wondering, why is that?
Bill, do you have some?
There was a complaint made during, well, when the project was actually being completed, that said that we didn't, or the county didn't meet ADA compliance by not having a sidewalk in there. And rather than risk losing the federal funding for the project, they were pretty much forced to put a sidewalk in.
Is there a reason they didn't put one on the south side?
Cost prohibitive. There would have had to been retaining walls installed.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 7, considerations of bids. 7A, tabulation of bids of picnic tables. Recreation Director Greibel.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to adopt Kenneth Bribegel, Parks Recreation suggestion recommendation for the picnic table bid recommendations. There were 9 bids. The winner, the lowest bidder, was K Park of Janesville, Illinois, be awarded the contract for the 10 6-foot pressure-treated tables. Total cost $3,021. Their bid meets the required specifications. Adequate funds have been budgeted in the 2015-16 Parks Recreation budget as outlined in item 7.
Authorized payment upon successful delivery.
Absolutely.
Okay. Support. Second by Councilman Barry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8, reports from the mayor. 8A, from Mayor Pletko, appointment of city assessor.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move council concur the appointment of Mr. Anthony Fuoco as the City of Dearborn Heights assessor per request of Mayor Pletko, detailed in item 8A.
Second.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 9, reports from city officials. 9A, from City Clerk Buchevitz, annual publication of amended notice of meetings.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to accept Clerk Prusevich's authorization for the annual publication amended notice of meetings. Attached is the final version in item 9A, giving the authorization to publish the notice in Dearborn Heights Press and Guide on Wednesday, December the 16th, 2015.
Second by Councilman Constant. Just a note, there was the presidential primary election, which was on a council meeting night, was moved to the Wednesday. I don't know if
So
everyone
we're
saw that.
changing the date?
No, it's in here, but I just want to make sure that everyone noticed that. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
apparently this request doesn't qualify for publishing it on the website as was in the last election. Mr. Mayotke.
That has to be, the amendment to the charter has to end up being approved by the governor, and that normally has taken traditionally several weeks to a couple of months to end up coming back.
Thank you.
Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number B, from Recreation Director Greibel, Richard A. Young Recreation Center, Swaka Park Maintenance Facility Project, change order number 1.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath.
I move that the council approve change order request of $1,000 to the Swapka Park Maintenance Facility Project, Richard Young Recreation Center, as outlined in 9B.
Supported by Councilman Constant. I know we were having the mayor and the clerk sign. The clerk wasn't mentioned, but if you want to include that in your motion.
Doesn't look like this clerk.
No, it just
looks like-
it says authorize the mayor to sign, but I know we
Yeah.
talked about having both. Just be going a minute to sign, mayor and clerk to sign.
Mayor and clerk to sign, except there's no place for the clerk to
Oh,
sign.
well, they can make one.
Yeah, okay.
Councilman Constant, okay, second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Mark Councilman Napigian as a no. Item number C, from Recreation Director Garbo, Richard A. Young Recreation Center, Swapka Park Maintenance Facility Project Payment Application Number 1.
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
sorry, yeah. Councilwoman Horvath?
I move that payment application number 1 for the total amount of $46,500 be paid to, let me see, Elgin Building and Cadillac Square, Detroit, as outlined in 9C.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number D, from Deputy Recreation Director Constant, accessories for Caноkia, Minolta, BizHub copy machines.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve Kim Constant, Deputy Park Recreation Director's request for the accessories for Conica Minolta BizHub copy machines, to authorize her to purchase of 2 fax kits, a hole punch kit, a large capacity paper tray, and a total amount of $3,024 from the Conica Company, requiring a budget amendment for the capital outlay in the proper category in the amount of $3,024 and this from the Smart Reimbursement Account number indicated in 9D for the amount of $3,024.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9E, from Public Service Administrator Zimmer, material safety data sheets, MSDA compliance.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move council concur and approve a 3-year online MSDS program as attached to item 9E, and that this document be signed by the appropriate signatories, all at the request of Director of DPW, Bill Zimmer, and all defined in item 9E.
Support.
Second by Councilman Berry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number F, from Public Service Administrator Zimmer, 2015-16 Street Paving Program Change Order Number 1 and Pay Certificate Number 3.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve of the recommendations of our Public Service Administrator, William Zimmer, in reference to the 2015 through 2016 Street Repair Program Change Order 1 and Pay Certificate 3. This adjusts the project budget to $2,398,128.20, which is below the budget amounted of $2,554,000 in the 2015-2016 road budget for the street repair program.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski.
Details illustrated in 9F pertaining to the change.
Okay, Councilman Kozinski?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number G, from Public Service Administrator Zimmer, equipment disposal.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council approve the request to dispose of equipment no longer useful or functioning in the form of one blueprint making machine per Director Bill Zimmer under item 9G, the details of which are spelled.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8 is from Fire Chief Brogan, request to purchase fire station furniture.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian?
I move to approve of the recommendations of, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in 9G,
9H.
9H. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm perfectly prepared to do
Okay,
that.
go ahead.
I move to approve of Fire Chief Brogan's request to purchase new day room chairs for the fire headquarters, all indicated in the 2015-16 budget. The best quote for a lifetime warranty came from the White Furniture Company, $3,843, payment upon receipt. There was other quote for $200 less that only gave a one-year guarantee, as illustrated in item 9H.
second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9I from Chief Brogan, request to purchase thermal imaging cameras.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move council concur with the request of Fire Department Chief Brogan for the purchase of 5 new cameras at a total cost of $45,235, 40,000 of which, 40,712 will be coming from the recent grant, and the city share would amount to $4,523. That amount coming out of capital outlay upon receipt and delivery. All per item 9I.
Second by Councilman Apigian. Is there any discussion? Good job, Chief, with the grants. Keep it up. Okay, hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number J from Fire Chief Brogan, request to purchase protective gear racks.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Constant.
I move we concur with our Fire Chief Dave Brogan and approve the purchase of new protective gear racks for Station Number 1 from Gear Grid at a cost of $8,569 to come out of capital outlay as outlined in 9J,
Payment upon receipt.
and payment upon receipt.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number K from Fire Chief Brogan, request to purchase Hearst vehicle extraction equipment.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve of Fire Chief Brogan's request to purchase equipment, AFG, from the grant of a new Hearst vehicle extraction equipment, including new spreaders, cutters, ram, power unit, and all associated cribbing equipment, the total amount of $60,000. Of that, $54,000 is provided by the grant, by the AFG grant, with the remaining $6,000 to come from our capital outlay payment upon receipt as outlined in detail in 9K.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number L from Police Chief Gavin, noise ordinance waiver for concrete patching on M39.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council concur with the request of Chief Gavin for a waiver of the noise ordinance to be delivered to the MDO so that they may continue to do their maintenance in the roadways in our city. All per item 9L.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number M, from Police Chief Gavin, annual fire testing service for the elevators at the Justice Center.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve of Police Chief Leif Gallen's request for service from the Lardner Elevator Company to perform the annual fire testing service for the elevators at the Justice Center. The costs to perform these tests are $450 per elevator for a total cost of $3,150 for all 7. Once the tests are completed, the payment of the invoice will be paid.
Support.
Second by Councilman Berry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number N, from Police Chief Gavin Clemmis, agreement for IT services.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
move City Council concur and approve the Clemis agreement for IT services. Clemis is the report management used by the police and fire department. Mr. Chair, in this agenda item 9N, it's asking for the appropriate signatures of the mayor, one witness, and both copies to be contracted and dated. Can we include the clerk as the witness here?
Sure. Just state that in the motion, it'll work.
Yep.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Gary, is this something you've looked over?
Not this particular
Do you
agreement.
wanna make
It does show the city clerk on page 11, of 11 on the agreement.
Yeah, on the agenda item, it states a witness, and I wanted to make sure that we clarified it was a clerk signing as a witness.
Actually, he's shown as signing
signing.
along with the
Somebody
mayor.
else is-
Signing along with?
Yeah.
He's been added. This
Okay.
is a state contract.
Yep. So move.
Do you want to ask to have it approved after Gary Mackey?
Mr. Miyake, would you like to review this prior to,
I'll review it if that's, all
I'd like to approve it contingent upon your review?
right. I'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Councilman Kozinski, that's
Yes.
good. Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number O, from Treasurer Rowley, delegate to the Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority Board.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve of Treasurer Riley's request to reappoint him and Mayor Paletko to the Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority Board for the term commencing January 1st, 2016 and expiring on December 31st, 2017.
Support.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number P, from Treasurer Rowley, appointment to the General Government Pension Committee.
Chairman,
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath.
I move that the council reappoint Tom Berry. I forgot to call you and ask you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Tom Berry to the, and Treasurer Riley to the General Government Pension Committee. Their terms currently expire December 31st. So I am requesting that we consider their reappointment for the next year, John, is it?
2 years.
2 years. 2 years, as outlined in 9P.
Second.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number Q, from Corporate Counsel Miyake, proposed agreement with Acumed Billing, Inc.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
I move City Council concur and approve the agreement between the City of Dearborn Heights and Acumed as outlined in 9Q, and I believe there's a signature required on this. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, authorize the mayor and the clerk. to
Authorize the
sign.
mayor and clerk to sign on behalf of the city?
Support.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath.
I do have a question.
Okay.
I really meant to call Gary today, but I didn't get a chance. Okay, we've been dealing with Acumed for 500 years.
right.
How come all of a sudden it's a big deal. I mean, I don't know, I understand how, I know how you work, and I'm proud of that, but what put this on hold? We've been working with them for years.
Well, the prior agreement, I mean, actually had indemnification language that was problematic, where if they made any mistake, we would indemnify them. It also had continuous extensions being granted without any ability for us to stop the contract.
Now, we got the new one, or we got something from you tonight.
Yeah, this is basically the revised
Okay.
to take into account those things. It has a 5-year initial term. That's why we're able to get the really good rate. So
Okay.
I had to go back and forth with Ned from Acumed, and then he brought in his attorney, and then basically we got it. And I mean, the rate is an excellent rate.
Right.
And then, you know, we had to end up also dealing with the appendix and addendum with regard to certain compliance issues with regard to civil rights. So all these things had to go, you know, back and forth, and then Ned wanted to make sure he got Mr. Berg involved, and it's a good agreement, and that's why I made sure I rushed as soon as I got it to basically get it over here so that it would be approved, because it is a, you know, business-wise, it's a good agreement, but it had some
Okay.
So
Thanks,
we
Gary.
didn't catch the indemnifying clause before?
You know, I don't believe that I reviewed it before. I mean, it was from years and years ago, and then when I saw it, I was like going, you know, especially given certain recent indemnification issues that we've had raised, I'm looking at all of these things very closely so we don't have people turning around saying, hey, now you have to indemnify us for something that's really our fault. And, you know, and you're doing business with us, and I normally look at anyone who does business with the city should appreciate and show gratitude for doing business with the city, not expect that we are going to not only do business with them, but indemnify them if they make a mistake. So it doesn't make any sense.
Good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski?
This is an allied work activity to, similar to some of the activities that I performed in my regular work activity before I retired. And I think some of us would be surprised how some certain requirements of a contract appear to sneak in over a span of time. So it's an excellent idea to review these contracts strictly on the basis of good business practice, so that you don't get caught with a requirement that nobody was aware, in spite of 8 of us or 9 of us sitting at the table. So I commend the idea of reviewing this kind of a contract. It's time consuming, and it will pay dividends over the long haul.
Good. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On number R, from Corporate Counsel Miyake, proposed motor vehicle lease agreement with the city of Dearborn for a rescue vehicle.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry?
I move City Council concur and approve the motor vehicle lease agreement with the city of Dearborn for a rescue vehicle, and authorize Mayor Paletko to sign the agreement on behalf of the city along with the clerk, please.
Second.
As outlined in 9R.
As outlined in 9R, thank you.
Support.
And supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
The required
Councilman Kozinski?
offer a friendly suggestion. Whenever there is a necessity to get authorized signatures to sign on behalf of the city, rather than try to figure out when the mayor signs or when the clerk signs or when both sign, it might be appropriate to use language to be signatured or signed by the appropriate signatories. That covers a host of activities and will eliminate the necessity for a constancy of questions to come up.
Mr.
Who's to
Chair.
sign, who doesn't?
Councilman Berry?
In this instance here, the reason I specified the clerk, because here, as outlined in 9R, would only be for the mayor to sign it, the last sentence there. So I needed to be sure that we included the clerk on it. Otherwise, I agree with you. You know, we discussed this before, and protocol would be have the clerk and the mayor sign on behalf of the city. But because I said outline in 9R, I wanted to make sure that it included the clerk here.
Good.
There is a signature line for the clerk.
Yeah. I mean, we did have some.
Outline in 9R only states the mayor.
Yeah, I would note that the original agreement, which was prepared by the city of Dearborn, only had the mayor. What's been added here for the clerk was added by someone else. So, for example, the notary stuff only says the mayor. I didn't want to end up doing something that was inconsistent with the way the city of Dearborn presented this, and frankly, we don't have to have the clerk sign off on everything. I know that some people have indicated that.
Yeah, it was a discussion that took place many meetings ago, so.
Right, but I mean, as a practical matter, if you want to, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that way.
Yeah, we had that discussion, if you remember, when, Walt's a keeper of all these. So
Right.
if he signs it, he'll make sure he's got a copy. And I remember that was one of the points that was brought, so I'm sure Dearborn would not mind if,
There was a problem that he didn't have the agreements, and
So-
important was the clerk needed to have each
Right.
one of the agreements.
Yep.
But now a second notary will have to be added, a notary line to notarize the clerk's signature. Though I suppose you don't have to notarize the clerk's signature.
Well, I suppose, I don't know how Dearborn, I mean, sometimes Dearborn's very particular about things, sometimes Dearborn is very easygoing about things, so I don't know, you could even potentially, it would look sloppy, but put something in here and,
The clerk is the clerk.
Walter J.
Why do you-
Prushevitz.
I'll serve as the notary.
The clerk is
There
the
you go.
clerk. Why does he have to have his signature notarized?
Okay,
He's
any
the
further
official
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before I ask for any discussion from the council, I'd just like to mention a few things. Tonight is a very difficult night for me. After almost 21 years sitting on this council, this is my last meeting. It takes a team to run a city, and I would like to thank all the city employees for the great job that they do running our city. But especially, I want to thank the department heads. You've always been so helpful to me when we would talk or discuss problems, or if I needed information, you would always be there, and most of the time, I've got the information way before I even ever expected it. And I don't believe that the average person really knows how difficult of a job it is to be a department head in this city. So I want to especially thank all of you department heads for the jobs that you do. And Denise, our council secretary, you always have a smile on your face and are so cheerful. And I know whoever sits here next year will be in good hands. And I thank you for all that you've done to make my job easier. So thank you. And Gary, our corporate counsel. I'll miss all the discussions that we've had, most of which I really can't speak to anyone else about. But I want you to keep up the good work. And no matter what Councilwoman Horvath says, you do a thorough and a great job.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for all that you do for the city, too. And Clerk Prushevitz, well, you filled a vacancy when Judy Zazinski retired and have been on streamlining that office ever since. And I want to thank you for all the work that you do and will continue to do in your office. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman.
And Treasurer Riley. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we have the best treasurer in the whole state of Michigan. John, you are very dedicated and go above and beyond what is expected of you. So thank you very much, John, for all that you do. And Mayor Pleco, well, actually, first, I'm going to tell a story about Mayor Pleco. Back when Ruth Canfield, it's a good one, Dan.
We only have.
Only have good ones, that's correct. But when Ruth Canfield became mayor, she still had 2 more years left on her seat in the council. And I've always sat on different commissions and boards in the city, and I enjoyed it. But mid-January, Dan, who was the chairman of council at that point, gave me a call and says, Ken, you know, we're just having a rough time finding someone that can get 4 votes to fill the seat on the council. And he said he wanted to know if I'd throw my name into the ring. So we chatted a little bit, and he says, you know, I'm not going to be putting it on for at least 2 more weeks. So let me know in the meantime. Well, right after that, Councilman Bob Brown gave me a call and says, Ken, you know, I'd like you to consider that. You know, I can support you. So when I talked it over with my wife, Sue, one day it's yes, next day it's no, next day it's yes, next day it's no. And, well, as you can see what the final answer was, I'm sitting here. So I called Dan back, and I said, yeah, I'll throw my name in. So he said, well, you know, check with some other council members. And Councilman Joe Kaczynski was the next one that I called. And he gave me his support, and Councilman Gary Blackburn also gave his support, so there was 4 votes, and here I am today.
Absolutely.
So, but you know, every city has its problems, and one of ours is the Ecorse Creek flooding. But the Ecorse Creek problem has been there ever since way before we were even a city. And Mayor Paletko has done more to work on correcting the problems of the Ecorse Creek than all of our other mayors combined. You know, and I want to thank you, Dan, very, very much for that and all the other services that you have done for the city.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And my colleagues. Lisa Hicks Clayton had some surgery, so she couldn't be here tonight, but I did talk to her today, and she'll be recovering, and soon she'll be back in full force. And Councilman Nedopigian, I want to thank you for the 4 years of services that you've done. And we have a little something that we just wanted to card to give you for all of that. So, on behalf of all of us, Ned, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Councilman Bob Constant, Councilman Tom Berry, Councilman Joe Kaczynski, and Councilwoman Marge Horvath. We may not have always agreed, but I believe we always had the best interests of our city at heart. However, Councilwoman Horvath, through these years, we have had some very, how should I say, spirited conversations, Marge?
I wouldn't use that word.
Oh, well,
Pretty
okay.
good.
Okay. But through all of that, we have remained good friends, and I'm always happy to call you my good friend, as all the other colleagues that have sat here with me. And to our 2 new members, Ray and Dave, I know you'll do your best job, but I have 2 pieces of advice for you. The first, be a good listener. And the second is, no matter how terrible a story may sound, there's always 2 sides to a story. So before you make an opinion, check out the other side. I would also like to thank the citizens of our city for putting their faith in me for all the years that I've sat here. Even though I grew up in Redford Township, no matter where I go, I will always consider Dearborn Heights as my home. And I have one more thank you, and that's for my family. You really can't sit here without having the backing of your family. And I want to thank my wife, Sue, for all the hours that you've stayed up listening to me vent after our council meetings. And I want to thank you and know that we will enjoy our retirement. And I want to let you know that I love you very, very much. So thank you. Well, that's okay. I'm not quite finished yet. In closing, talking to citizens about complaints they have throughout the years, I found usually that it was about a neighbor's spat. When we make what makes a city great are its people. So I'd like you to extend your hand over your fence and bury the hatchet so that we can all get along and live together in peace. And may God bless our citizens and the city of Dearborn Heights. Thank you.
Nice job. Nice job.
Now, if there's anything else, 3 minutes? Come from the council?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath.
of course, you know I have to say
Of
something.
course.
I was writing a speech today, and my computer went kaplooey, and that said, don't write it, tell it from your heart. So I am about to say that you are a great friend, a wonderful husband, a great father, a great grandfather. Your giving to this city is beyond repair, beyond talking about it. I mean, there was never a no. You don't know the word no. You were a key club advisor, had the kids always at heart, always. The kids were number one. Jenny is a perfect example. You are a friend that I'm going to miss. When we get out in the hall and I go, what the heck was that all about? You put your tongue in your cheek, I knew I gotcha. And I can go on and on. I'm going to miss you. I know how to get a hold of you, but I'm going to miss you. And I'll probably call you for advice on a number of occasions. Remember when we first started this little journey? We went Mexican Fiesta every Tuesday. Our dinner cost $3.
Yeah.
Now it's up to $6. So I'm going to miss you, Ken. I know you're going to be around. I know you're going to enjoy. I always say when people retire, they wonder how they had time to work, and you're going to find that out. And I know you're going to enjoy with your grandchildren, and the city is going to miss you. And I thank you for your friendship. I call you my seventh son.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Marge. I appreciate it. So.
I'd just like to
Councilman
say that
Constant?
you've been a great council chair, a great councilman, a great Kiwanian, and a very good friend. And I wish you a long, relaxing retirement.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you. Phil? Mayor, did you have anything you want to say? Or?
Couple things. One is, it was so nice to see that Councilwoman Marge Horvath is back with us.
Yep.
We missed you, and thank you. And we had a couple of purchases through the Safer Grant. I got a notice that the next round for Safer Grant is happening, and Fire Chief Brogan has already got things already going on the wish list. So the Safer Grant's become our Santa Claus in regards to the fire department. So I thought I'd let all of you know that we'll be submitting some items in there. And then on behalf of all the city employees, department heads, elected officials, I want to wish everybody a very happy holiday, and we look forward to, we're still going to be open, but we look forward to the next council meeting in January. And we said it at the beginning, but goes without saying that thanks again for all your service to the city of Dearborn Heights on behalf of all the residents, but also the Sue and the whole family. And I mean, you still have continuing service, because I was talking, I told Jenny today that I was talking with my youngest daughter, Ann, and we were talking, she still remembers having physics class at Crestwood with you. And what a great class and what a great teacher you are. And I'm not just saying that, she really said that. So the service of the Barron family continues in Dearborn Heights for all of us that go to Crestwood. Good job. Great.
It sure will. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. I wanted to say much of what everybody else had said with regard to your commitment and your oath of office and keeping that oath under varying circumstances, sometimes under fire, right in this room. It takes a special kind of person to have to be beaten and still have patience, and you have done that. You've also joined a very elite group of retirees, Roy Pilot, Netta Pigeon, and Ken Barron. Just because you're retired doesn't mean that we can't call on you as you had called on me. So keep your public service shoes shined, your white shirt and tie clean and ready to go, so that when you're called to fill in, as I was called to fill in, you'll be ready to hit the pavement running. There was a comment made about the commitment of family. In this instance, this is a very significant retirement because you're retiring from public service as well as from being a local businessman. And no matter what the issue was, what the decision was, it didn't seem to impact upon your decision to make the right decision, even if it impacted on Ken Barron's florist and his livelihood. So the family, as well as the public servant, makes a commitment to serve, and you have demonstrated that yourself and your family. It goes without saying that there are many hours that the wives or the husbands of public servants are left alone waiting for you to come back and vent from the meeting. That's a natural thing, but I can tell you for sure that this stuff flows in your veins. It's not easy to shed it, not easy to get away from it. And it sometimes goes to the gray matter above the shoulders. But in spite of that, you apparently had not lost a whole lot of sleep because you always came back at the next meeting. So I wish you and your family well and enjoy your retirement. And now that you're one of the elite, as I mentioned earlier, you're not absolved or given the freedom of not coming back.
Yep. We'll be around for a while. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Anything else? Okay, then, well.
Chairman Barron, all these people up here know you much longer than I do. There's not a single thing I could add to what they said, except that I think the true measure of a man is if they're a good person and a man of integrity. And what I can say to you right now is you are a good person, Chairman Barron. And that's more than any of the accomplishments you made in the city, more than any of your accomplishments except for your family. You are a good person. And I thank you for everything you have done for me since I've been here.
Thank you, Walt.
And if I may say something to Sue, he's lucky to have you, Sue. I've been watching you, and you're still smiling. After all these years of probably listening to him on Tuesday nights and Wednesday mornings, and you're still smiling. Thank you for taking my phone calls. Thank you for listening to me on occasion. And God bless you and your family, and the best of everything to you and your family. One other thing I'd like to say, I would like to thank Councilman Apigian for his service here. You should not be lost in this celebration. I appreciate what you have done for the city. I appreciate your support for me. I hope to see you just as often as I have in the past. Remain a friend, remain a person here in the city. Hold your head up high. You have done a good job, Councilman, and thank you for what you have done.
I'd like to say something.
Councilman Apigian, sure.
I thought I would be last. I thought Tom would have something to say before me. In any endeavor, it's not what you take with you from it, but what you leave behind. And you've left much behind. Our experience together is 5 years, not 4. If you remember, I was on a 1-year term. But you are an amazing person in the respect that you have no animosity. I've never heard you raise your voice. I've never heard you say anything derogatory about somebody else. And you're always calm and quiet. This is an example of which those who follow you should learn. A level-headed, friendly smile is always a nice thing, whether you agree with someone or not. So my experience with you, you've been a charming person. You might not have done everything I wanted you to do, but still you're a very charming, friendly, non-aggressive, and it's a pleasure to work with people like that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Ned. Thank you very much. And thank you for your service and time, too. Okay, Gary?
Just quickly, because it's not always easy for me to say something quickly, but I really enjoyed working with you. I'll really miss the times that we did speak about things in terms of city business and otherwise, and wish you and Sue the very best in your retirement.
Thank you very much, Gary. Really do appreciate it. And I'll miss our discussions, too. Maybe I'll just call you up once in a while, just for the heck of it.
Do that.
Just build a city. Put it under Marge's name or Joe's, someone.
No, I watch those bills.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay.
You know, I just want to say that very difficult to add to all the accolades that you've received, but I will tell you that 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I began this venture here to try to get involved and give my contribution back to the city. And when I asked a particular person sitting on his table today, Mr. Paletko, who would I be best to speak with on how to behave as a council person or what I should expect, he pointed to you. And he said, you know, if there's anybody on council that could guide you in the right direction, it would be Ken Barron. And I hence made the phone call and got involved with the Kiwanis, but it was because of you and the way you embraced me and the way you opened up to me and were as candid as you possibly could be. I knew it would not be easy, but yet you encouraged me. So I just want to thank you for the human being that you are, because you surely are a special person. Thank you very much.
Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, then at this time, does anyone have any announcements, things happening in the city? John?
Good evening, Ken. I wanted to say it's been an honor and privilege to work with you over all these years, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Pegian, good luck and thank you for your services. I wanted to let the public know that the Treasurer's Office has mailed out the winter tax bills on November 30th. And so if you have not received them yet, they come in this familiar blue envelope. So please feel free.
You know how to bring a group down.
So please feel free to give the Treasurer's Office a call if you haven't received your tax bill yet. The number's 313-791-3410. And the winter taxes are due on February 16th of 2016. I know a lot of people like to pay them by December 31st for income tax purposes. Some of the ways you can pay the bill, you can mail it in the envelope that's attached, or you can come into City Hall Monday through Thursday, 8 till 5. On Friday and the weekends, you could put your envelope into the drop box at the front doors of City Hall, or you can go to Dearborn Federal Savings Banks, or you can pay online, but there's a convenience service charge to pay online using a credit card or e-check. So I just wanted to let the public know that. So thank you very much. And And Ken, I'll miss all those times up at Mexican Fiesta. Hopefully you'll come and join us sometime.
We'll come a
thank
few
you.
times,
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
It's not a gift card in there.
Oh, okay, thank you. Mike?
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. Just want to talk about some upcoming holiday events. Saturday, December 19th at 1 p.m. at the John F. Kennedy Jr. Library and 3 p.m. at the Carolyn Kennedy Library will be a performance by the Crestwood Drama a cappella group. Join them as they ring in the holidays with some of your favorite carols. Also, next week, Monday, December 14th at 7 p.m. at Carolyn Kennedy Library. And Wednesday, December 16th at 6:30 p.m. at John F. Kennedy Jr. Library. Join Santa as he reads Stories of the Season. All ages are invited. There will be plenty of time for the children to meet Santa. Bring a camera if you want photos. And on behalf of the library, I just want to say thank you very much for working with me and working with the library. If anyone ever wants to see a fantastic piece of handiwork, you can go in the Carolyn Kennedy Library, and hanging on the wall to our right is a large plaque that he handcrafted for all the Wall of Honor recipients, for all those people that donate time and money and effort to making the library a special place. So thank you very much, and I appreciate everything you've done helping us out. And Ned, thank you very much for your service. It was a pleasure working with you. My door's open anytime. That's all for now. Thank you for your time, and see you at the library.
Thanks, Mike. I had a lot of fun making that, too. So I love woodworking, and I'm hoping to do a lot more of that also. So thank you. Oh, okay. So does my wife. Any more announcements? Things happening in the city?
The chief's got one.
Chief?
First, I'm going to begin by thanking Ken for all your years of being on the council, professionalism. Whenever I needed something, I could go to you. Also, Ned, we go back many years when you were running for council, even before you got on the council. So both of you, I wish you well. Then I was just going to make a quick announcement. I see John Zadiki in here. I didn't know if he was going to talk about the Goodfellows, but I thought I would announce this past Saturday was Goodfellows. We raised over $40,000 this year. Bob Constance is the president, so his crew did good. I think we're roughly $1,500 over the previous year. Again, number one sales was the police officers at the corner of Ford Road and Telegraph. We were up over $9,000. So we want to thank all the citizens in the community for donating, and then the folks that are going to pick up their packages this Saturday at the Berwyn Center. And Marge should be there to greet them along with Bob and John. So I want to thank the whole Goodfellow crew, and good job, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yep. Thank you. Any more announcements? If not, then at this time, if anyone would like to speak to us, come up to the microphone, give your name, street, and the city you live in, and you'll have 3 minutes, but I'll be lenient today. So, Ray, go ahead.
Good evening. This is just for the council chair. I heard a lot of accolades for you, and I heard a lot of wishings that went to you. But the one thing I didn't hear that I want to pass off to you is not only have a happy retirement, have a healthy one. And that goes to your wife, your children, and your grandchildren. I hope that you guys stay as healthy as can be, and God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray. Anyone else? Come to the microphone. Well, oops, okay.
Hello, Jacqueline Turner from McDonald Street. Again, congratulations on your retirement. It's been wonderful watching you chair this thing over the last year that I've been attending these meetings. You've done a great job, because there have been some times when things have got a little rowdy, let's say. So you've done a great job. Just a couple of little questions. Number one, for the fellow who prints this paper, when are we getting these?
Going to print this week.
This week, okay. I got your number. I'll be calling you if I don't get it. The other thing, this is regarding the leaves being piled in the streets. Is that still, we call the ordinance, or should it be the police department since it's a misdemeanor if they do that? Jack?
Call the ordinance department.
Okay. Because I got a few things I'll give you before you leave today about that. The other one, this is for the chief of police. I want to know, in lieu of the events, have there been any changes in the way the police are conducting activities for Dearborn Heights, particularly in the shopping areas and stuff, you know, for security and...
Yeah, for the holidays, we step up enforcement in our, you know, strip malls in the city.
Okay.
And, you know, we have extra officers out there. Our directed patrol officers are out there working at night. And again, with the holidays, we just ask our citizens to be aware when they're going from their cars to the stores and, you know, carry your belongings close to you and don't leave your packages in a car visible for people walking in the parking lot. This time of year, we get a lot of thefts from the cars and that. People leave stuff on the seats, and our young folks, our thieves, walk by and break the windows and get what they want. So just keep your stuff in the trunk out of view.
All right, and thank you. And just for the ladies, I just want to let you know, when you're going out shopping and you got your purse, what I do is it's inside my coat. So ain't nobody going to be able to grab my coat and pull me over because my bones break real easy. But I learned that several years ago working at the VA, that if we put our purse inside our coat, they cannot get it from you. And you can get around a little bit more safely like that. One other small little thing that I just noticed while I was sitting here, there's a ceiling tile out. You think they might want to put it back? And thank you guys again. Have a good holiday.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair.
15 years ago,
Chairman?
March?
Oh, is
Why they're
Jack
coming
coming
up?
up?
Yeah, I think
gentleman as well.
Jack is, and this gentleman too, but, okay, go ahead, Jack, and then we'll get you, sir.
Can I do it right here? I actually have an announcement. I completely forgot I had this in my hand. A week from tomorrow, Wednesday, December 16th, from 1 to 4, we're having our second open house for the Animal Control Department. You can come between 1 and 4, meet our ordinance and animal control staff, get to see the animal control truck. We're going to have some handouts from Michigan Humane Society, which is our shelter in Westland, and we're going to have some refreshments. So you're all welcome to come next Wednesday from 1 to 4.
Okay.
What's the date on, what's that date? The 16th, is it?
16th. Yep.
Okay, sir?
Thank you. My name's Larry Hanover. I want to discuss a problem I had with the 20th District Court and animal control. I guess it started out with the neighbor. Neighbor had a problem with me.
Could you speak into the mic closer? We can't hear you, please.
One of my neighbors had a problem with me, and he started using the cops and animal control to deal with his problem, I guess, with me. But it started out, the dog got outside. Okay, she come out because she was coming out to greet me, and the neighbor had a dog on a leash across the street, and my dog went over to bark at that dog. Well, I got my dog back to the house. The dog never went in their yard. So after I got my dog back in the yard, the whole house from that neighbor across the street come over in my front yard, up by my porch. And this guy that has been causing me problems says, I told you about that dog. My dog barks. That's what all dogs do. And he barks, or she barks, because he yells at her all the time. She only knows him from him yelling at her. So anyways, back when this happened, one of the girls tried to hit my wife with her cane. And so they ended up calling the police. They were in our front yard, up by our front porch. They ended up calling the police. The police came, and they did their investigation. And they took me to jail. And when I got to see the attorney over there, he asked me, first question from him was, did I have any priors? Without hearing the story, after I asked him why does that matter, he didn't want to talk to me or my wife anymore. So I ended up going to court over this problem that I had with the neighbor. The neighbor was trying to hit my wife, like I said, threatened to shoot my dog and everything. So I ended up in Dearborn Court, Dearborn Heights Court. But when the woman was over, let me go back to this. When the woman was over trying to hit the wife, I told her, don't put your hands on me. She was, I don't know if she was intoxicated or if that's the way she usually approaches her neighbors when she's threatened to kill them and their dog. But I told her when I seen the state, she said, don't put your hands on me. Well, she did. So I ended up in court, and this guy was over here, Mr. Moike.
Was it me or was it Mr. Roberts? I don't recall.
Pardon?
Was it me or Mr. Roberts?
It was you first. So I could have straightened it out with you if you'd let us talk that day, but you didn't want to hear it since I didn't answer your question. But I went to court, had a jury trial over this incident with my puppy, because this guy obviously had a problem with me, I guess. It wasn't about the dog. He wanted to tell animal control it was all about the dog, but it was really about me. He didn't like me, and I know that. I didn't give him a reason. When I moved in, I just waved at him, hey, how you doing? But then he started calling the police. You know, we had to park our car in the yard because the wife's disabled. He called the police on that. Called the police on my sister-in-law, had her car parked out in the street. But anyways, let me get to the point. I'm indigent when it comes to court, don't have any income, so I'm a little nervous right now. Let me try to put this to where you can follow me without getting lost. But I had a jury trial, like I was saying. The jury found me not guilty. So since I filled out the paperwork, maybe you can help me with this later, Mr. Moike. I didn't have an income. The court sent me a fine. Oh, you got to pay your fine. And I filled out the paperwork, so I don't understand why I got the fine.
If you want me to address that, I
don't have an income. But the court ended up billing me. They kept the fine money that my wife put up to bail me out of jail. Well, I shouldn't have been in jail in the first place, but the cop arrested me even though these people came over in my front yard, up by my porch, threatening me and my dogs. So I went to jail and ended up having to bail myself out. And after I was found not guilty, I figured that was the end of it. But then I got something in the mail from the court saying you owe $150. Well, I can't even afford an attorney. Well, why are you sending me this bill? Well, the information I got down at court from the court officer was that, you know, you still got to pay some money, buddy. And I said, look, I don't have an income, so you still got to pay some money. And I thought there was a thing where you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. Maybe you could help me out with that, too. I thought it was in the Constitution or something like that. Maybe it changed.
I'll address the point, though, if you want me to.
Pardon?
It's basically when you get a court-appointed attorney, you don't get it without the idea that you will potentially have to reimburse the court the $250 or whatever it is for the court-appointed attorney fee. So
say that now.
You can be required by the court to reimburse the court for the court-appointed attorney fee. Okay. So that's what you are probably referring to in this particular situation.
Then what is the paperwork that you fill out saying whether you can afford an attorney or not? And I figured the court would do an investigation to find out if you got income. And if you don't have income, is there a law against being no income, indigent?
No, but there's no requirement for the court to have to necessarily, for a misdemeanor case, appoint an attorney for you unless, one, the judge is going to make a determination that you may go to jail, and two, the court can also have as a condition that you will reimburse the court for the court-appointed attorney fee. And that's probably what you are referring to in this situation. I don't know. I did not handle the jury trial that you're referring to, so I don't know the specifics, but that's what I would anticipate is what had happened based on your description of this.
Okay. So are you...
Gary, do you want to maybe talk to him after the meeting a little bit? Or?
I can talk to him after the meeting.
Okay, so if you want to talk to Gary, just, he'll wait here, and then you can finish talking to him.
Okay.
At that point, because we really don't have much control over,
Okay, that's that now. So are you saying that in this country you don't have a right to a free attorney if you can't afford one? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you can be required by the court to reimburse the court for the expense, recognizing that if you had a full jury trial, chances are ordinarily the attorney fees for a full jury trial would be well in excess of $1,000.
Okay, if you can't afford an attorney, why is the judge going to hit you in Dearborn Heights, or why is the judge going to hit you with fines and costs and all that?
It's not a fine. It's not fines and costs. It's considered to be a reimbursement of the expense relative to the court-appointed attorney that otherwise would have to be paid for by your fellow residents entirely.
Oh,
okay. Well,
maybe I'm missing something
Why don't
here.
you stay after and chat with Gary, and I'm sure he's more than willing to do
All
that.
right.
And then maybe you can
Got
work
it.
that out.
That's part of the problem. Okay, we had that. Now, back here a few weeks ago, the neighbor was upset again, and he ended up calling animal control. And I don't know what he said to animal control, but animal control, somebody named Jack in animal control, called my landlord and asked my landlord for my name, driver's license number, so he could send me a ticket through the mail. Now, that's not how it's supposed to work, okay? It's not how it's supposed to work. I mean, if the animal control sees me with my dog off a leash and they give me a ticket, I can handle that. But don't call my landlord to get my information and send me a ticket through the mail. That's wrong. All right? And it's wrong. And it's wrong for the court to charge somebody who doesn't have an income fines. Because I wasn't able to pay those fines, they put another warrant out for me, and it cost me more money. And that's wrong, and you people are city council. So I want somebody to straighten this out for me.
Okay, well, again,
And if
speak with Gary after.
If I don't get some good information, then I'm going to go somewhere else to try to get some information on you guys for treating your citizens like this, okay?
Sure. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else wish to
Mr. Chairman?
speak? Councilwoman Horvath?
Well, I can't let this go by. I see a lot of my fellow Kiwanians here, and they were on the street corners Saturday selling Goodfellow papers. Everybody that put in an application for Goodfellows, the instructions are to be at Berwyn Center Saturday to pick up your packages. And I must say, Kiwanis is going to beat the fire department next year. We came in third, but if we have to solicit, we're going to beat the fire department next year. Thanks.
Mr. Chair. Yes, Kiwanis, and Kiwanis had a very generous donation by Councilwoman Horvath's son that helped us.
Yeah, he did.
So thank you to Patrick Horvath and the Councilwoman Horvath.
Good. Anyone else wish to speak? John?
Mr. Chairman, John Zadikian, a proud waterfront property owner on Power Street in Dearborn Heights. Councilwoman Horvath, I have the story on how the Kiwanis came in third place.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't tell.
I won't tell, so let's not brag about beating the fire department. As everybody has been saying, so well-deserved with all of your accolades, but not everything is sunshine and lollipops with this man. Many years ago, we were at a, was it Veterans Day or Memorial Day? It was a parade of some sort, I remember. And somebody mistook us for brothers.
Oh, brother.
And so for many years, Ken has been my brother. Sue has been my sister. You'd think I'd get a family discount on flowers? No. But that's beside the point. I thank you for that. In all seriousness, you've been so great to me personally, to my family, to the city, and I appreciate that very much. Switching gears before I get all emotional, with regard to the Goodfellows, I want to retire from this, folks. You keep raising money for us. Come on. The $40,000 figure that Chief Gavin threw out earlier was not only 3% higher than last year, it was 18% higher than 2013, and it was our largest total since 2004. The generosity of this community just blows me away. And the one thing that I like about Goodfellows, that I love about Goodfellows, is that for at least one day out of the year, we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're not Christians, we're not Muslim, there's no labels. We're all people. We're all residents of the city. We're all human beings. We care about our fellow man, our fellow woman, children, and all that. And that's why I love the organization. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank everybody who had anything to do with us achieving that number. I'm not going to single anybody out because I know I'm going to forget somebody. But at one point, it was a little after 5:30 in the afternoon on Saturday. And God bless our police, you guys. Every time we would come in with what we call a drop of money, when we would get money to count throughout the day, the police easily, for every drop, were good for anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000. So we were sitting there, we were looking at the numbers, and we had one last drop that we knew was coming in from the police department. And at that point, our grand total was 400 under last year's total. And I just scratched my head. It's like, holy cow, we're going to not only beat last year, but we've got a good chance at hitting 40,000. So we sort of took internal bets as to how much higher than the 40,000 it was going to be, and we did it. And it's just, it's craziness, and I love it. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank everybody. I know we as a Goodfellows organization rely on the Kiwanis. We rely on the Rotarians. We rely on the police and fire and parks and rec, and the mayor's office has always been great to us all throughout the years. So any of the 55,000 or so residents that are in this city, we thank you. And we'll see you again next year, I guess, because I won't be allowed to retire, but you'll be gone, right, Ken?
John.
Yes, Marge.
The more you say, I love it,
Yeah.
the more you're never going to get out of it.
I know it. Well, you know, it's one of those things, Marge. We always say that, you know, you get out of this organization in a casket. And, you know, that's sort of a cruel joke, but it's just one of those things. I started with the Goodfellows back in when I was a cub reporter for the Press and Guide. And I started out on the corner, and it was fun. And I did it again the next year, and 27 years later, I'm still doing it. And I'll do it another 27 years, but it's a lot of fun. And thanks, Ken, again, for all the support over the years, and Goodfellows family, all that fun stuff. And God love you, and my sister. Even if I didn't get a discount, I love you anyway. Good night.
Well, Brother John, thank you, too, for all that you do. Thanks. Anyone else?
Move to adjourn.
Seeing none. Motion by Councilwoman Horvath, second by Councilman Kozinski for the last time. Meeting adjourned.
That's yours, sir.